welcome along to SLR here at the Hungaroring for round 12 of the season, and it's the first round of the new year, so happy new year to all. Hopefully we'll have a good start to 2019 here in SLR. Start qualifying here, 18 minutes. And there's a lot of cars going out there to start the session. Yeah, they're all trying to get out early. According to what I've heard, the tyre to be on is either the soft or the mediums, because the ultras in the race will melt very quickly. As you can see, there's a few fellows here who get the tyres out fitted. Yeah, they all seem to be, there's only one or two that are going out on the ultras, and the rest are going with either softs or mediums. So yeah, get the telemetry up. First person to set a lap will be, I think, one of the Force Toro Rossos. I think it might be Knuckle Beast. Will be the first person to set a lap. So we'll follow him on board. Hold on a minute now until I sort out my audio, and we're back. Okay. Might look at standings as we watch Knuckle Beast go around for his lap. I imagine the mediums will be quite hard to warm up and get up to operating temperatures as well, but I'd say that you could go for a few runs on them in qualifying as well. Maybe one or two, as in. So, watching Knuckle Beast now come down to turn 1, down to second. Trying to get a good exit out of here because you got a DRS zone. You know, braking just before the 50 down here. He's broke right on the 50. He drops down to second for that corner. Very fast right-hander afterwards. So, standings as we watch Knuckle go around. Berra leads the championship. He is here today in the Mercedes. He leads the championship by 1 point on 143 points. Right behind him is Alfie Jensen on 142, and it's a bit of a dip from it's with Skin Up in third. He's on 116 points. After him is MVP Dusty on 106 points. In fifth we have Helen Elmo on 85 points. In sixth we have Mocking Weeks on 62 points. I won't go any further than that. You can look at it on the SLR website, because it's going to take a long time to scroll down through all that. But that's your top 6. I believe all of them are here, as Dusty has set a 117.2 on the soft tyres. It's quite a good lap on them tyres. I expect them to get quite a bit faster. I expect to at least get into the 116s. So a lot of fellas setting a lap now. It just shows the gap between the softs and the mediums. Berra, who's a very quick driver, is down 9/10 from Dusty on the on the soft tyres. Mystic Man with a 128 is a small bit off the pace there. Let's hope that was only an out lap, but a warm-up lap. But yeah. 2 viewers. It looks like Berra's on the second lap now, so we'll watch him coming through the final sector. It's a very fast sector, this one. Some people refer to this track as Monaco without the walls. And Dusty, Berra even gets up on the curb and loses the back end a little bit. It's easy to do, the curbs are quite pointy around here. Berra coming down to finish the lap. I think he might be. He's not up. No, he lost a lot of time there in the third sector. We're gaining viewers fast here. We're up to 4 viewers. Welcome along, everyone. It's going to be a good race today, hopefully. Dusty currently sits on provisional pole. but also he's on the softest tyres. It's only medium runners that he's beaten, really. And then there's the two fellas on the ultra softs setting their times as well. I'm not sure when Dusty set that time. It says he set it on ultras now, but up until now it said soft. Anyways, yeah, Dusty on the ultras. So as expected, the two fellas on the ultras do have quite an advantage in qualifying, but in the race, them tyres won't last on a track like this. Mockingley's in third. He's quite an improvement from last week, I think. Or not last week, last month it's almost been since our last race, round 11 in Germany. He's only a thousandth of a second behind Berra on the same tyres as him. I think there's a bit of a glitch with the tyres here, because I'm not sure if it's showing me the right tyres, but anyways, we'll roll with it. Berra is out on the mediums 3 laps, so I'm not sure if those tyres will last that long without starting to lose a bit of pace, but he seems to be satisfied with them. We'll watch him coming into the final sector now, or come to the end of the second sector. It's a very tricky section in here. You've got to manage the speed, which, if you get the apex wrong for one corner, it might ruin your entry to the next one. So Berra here trying to fix his mistakes on that corner from last lap, and he's done it. You can brake quite late for this one, just before the 50-metre board, clip the curb on the inside and down towards the second to last corner. The long one, it almost feels never ending when you're on a lap. You gotta be careful on the exits. He's just spin up the tyres, and around the final corner he comes, trying to get a good exit there onto the straight, open the DRS, and he sets a 1:17.9 on the medium tyres, so he's the leader of the medium runners right now. And then you have these two fellas on ultra softs who are probably going to regret their decisions 5 laps into the race. We'll see how it goes for them though. So Berra puts it into 3rd place. Two fellas yet to set a lap. Skin Up and Elmo have yet to set a lap, and we're almost 10 minutes into qualifying, which is a bit odd, but they're both quite quick. Like I said when I read the championship standings, they're both in the top 6, so they should be able to set a reasonable lap to get them up there. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I believe that's Mystic Man, going very slowly. Is there anyone coming behind him? Hope not. No, he's relatively in the clear. He's slowing down to set a lap, I thought, but he's saving the RS at the same time. It's a bit odd for Mystic Man. And he hasn't really set a competitive lap yet either, which is also a bit weird from him. Maybe it's just my screen, maybe he does have it on. Maybe it's just a bit of a glitch with the telemetry. But we'll see how that lap is when he gets to the end of it. Is there anyone else on the lap? It looks like Alfie Jensen's starting a lap on the soft. 2nd in the championship now, 1 lap off the lead is Alfie. And he's got a few pole positions this season as well, so he'll fancy himself here in qualifying. Down into turn 2. Need to take a very late apex there. It's a long corner, but we're reasonably fast on the road. It's very easy to track extend going through that turn 1, 2, 3, 4, and the curve's quite easy to lose the back end on also. Coming towards the end of the 2nd sector now, coming into this fast final sector. And there's a yellow flag in this sector. I think it's Mystic Man again, going very slowly. I'm a bit puzzled at what Mystic Man's trying to get at in this session. It's telling me he's not using any ERS again. So I'm just gonna leave that where it is and see how he ends up. in 7 minutes time, but Alfred coming to the end of his lap now. Got a good exit out into the straight into overtake mode, and he sets a 1:18.1 on the soft tyres, which is a reasonable lap and skin up, as I said. Has gone and put in a lap good enough to secure second place for him. Well, not secure, but provisionally put himself into second place on the front row of the grid. Unsurprisingly, he seems to be going for another one. I'm not sure if he's on his way in or he's going for another. No, he's using any ERS. So it's looking like, yeah. Not far behind him on track though is his teammate Knucklewees, who'd want to be qualifying a bit higher up the grid, especially on the soft tyres. It seems like all the medium runners, according to what I can see now on my display, the medium runners have decided to pack it in and jump onto the softs, because it just doesn't seem that they're fast enough. Is that Elmo, who has put in a 1:16.5, 1:16.2 as well for Dusty? I didn't spot that. 2 very good laps. On the ultra softs, though, like I say, they're the best qualifying tyre, but they might bite back at you in the race, but we'll see how it goes for these two. Of course, it depends how their race pace is and if anything does happen to anyone else. Borob, surprisingly, is in 4th place. He's not known as one of the fastest drivers on this grid, but he's putting, relative to everyone else around him, he's putting a reasonable lap to put himself onto the second row of the grid. He might be starting another one here. Let's see how that goes for him in about a minute's time. It looks like Barra's coming to the end of one on the ultra softs now. I wouldn't expect Barra to go on the ultras now. He tends to go on the alternate strategy. You know, he's coming in, yeah. Seems everyone's just giving up on everything else and jumping for softs. So they just seem to be the tyre right now. Oh, the yellow flag in sector 1. Who's causing that, I wonder? There's now a yellow flag in sector 2. I think it's a keel. Yeah, it was a keel. His outlap going quite slowly. Borob has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. Right. That's unfortunate for Borob. That drops him. I'm not sure if he keeps his qualifying position now, but this is telling me it doesn't. So that's very unfortunate for Borob. It's to me it looks like he's spun and then stopped and waited for people to pass and then got disqualified for going the wrong way. Happened to me once in the pre-season race for SLR. I got disqualified from qualifying for spinning and then taking a bit too long to turn around. But it's just the way. There's nothing that can really be done about it at the moment. So that's really unfortunate for Borob, but we move on. There's not many cars out on track right now. Mocking Leaks, he's in hot lap mode, so I presume he's setting a lap at one point, and they want to get back there on this lap. Well into the top 6 in the championship, so he'll be looking to, well, get into the top 6 out on track. Coming around through the final sector now into the second last corner. Careful not to spin up the tyres here. Knocks up an inside right small bit into the final corner, runs a bit wide. He might invalidate it there. If he didn't, he lost a lot of time, and he does jump up to 3rd on the grid. So Mockgink's currently the fastest of the soft runners by about 4/10, so it's quite a margin from skin up. But it's nearly a second slower than Dusty's time on the Ultrasofts, as I believe he's trying to improve on that time just to secure his position even more. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Is it a keel again? No. It's Mocking slowing down for Knuckle Beast as he's on his way to settle up. Yeah, Knuckle Beast also, as well as Alfie Jensen, his teammate, who's in, I think, Alfie is second on the championship, so of course he'll be looking to get a bit higher up than 7th. Knuckle Beast does not improve, he's in fact 8 tenths down on his previous lap, which was a 1:18.2, which isn't a great lap as is for Knuckle. Mocking looks retired from the session, he's quite happy with his lap, which is, I would be as well, I'll say that much. But Alfie Jensen is in the pits. He's not going to get a chance to come out, I don't think, either. So, our 2nd place in the championship, and only starts from 7th here on the grid. He just mustn't think he can get any more out of it. But Knuckle Beast is on another lap here, perhaps. He's only in mode 3, so I don't know. Maybe he's just saving it. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. Couldn't tell you who that is. I'll try to investigate, and that's Mystic Man in the wall. Where's that? That's coming. That's just at the entrance to the pit lane. Mystic Man is having a bit of a mare qualifying here. He's on the medium tyres, which he seems to be the only one favouring that tyre on track. It's not been a great qualifying session for old Mystic Man. Knuckle Beast improves on his lap. A 1:17.8 on the soft tyres. Puts him into 5th on the grid on the 3rd row. He'll be relatively happy with that. Barrett going to the end of a lap now. I'd expect him to be a bit up to improve. It's not really looking like it though. Or will he? I don't know. He will. Puts a 1:17.0 down. Onto the 2nd row of the grid. That's the best you can hope for, really, because MVP is sitting 1:15s on the Ultrasofts up here. On the Ultrasoft tyres. Which, Muckern's off in the pit lane. So Elmo and Dusty are kind of running away with this qualifying session, but they are on much faster tyres. Much softer tyres. Bear with a great lap there, though. First for the soft tyres, and that will be your grid, I believe. Real shame for Borup and putting it into 4th. I don't know if he'll still have 4th. He might be back in 5th, 6th, 7th, but he'd still be happy with that, I would have thought. It's unfortunate for him. That is your grid with MVP Dusty on pole with a 1:15.8. But yeah, I was going to read the next one, but they cut, so I'll read it in a minute. Elmo in 2nd, I think it was a 1:16.1 that he set. So the 2 guys on Ultrasoft, so we're always going to be quite up there, and as they were 1-2. But I believe they're gonna, they might just regret that in the race. I'm not calling anyone out here, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. 9 tenths behind Elmo is it 9 tenths? It's nearly it's more than that. It's 1.2 seconds. It's telling me here. Sorry, 1 second. I'm reading it wrong. Behind that is Berra, he's at a 1:17.0. Mocking Weeks with a 1:17.1 in 4th. Skinno, Snuffle, Muggern, Alfie, and the other ones. Apologies, those are the ones that I didn't get a chance to read because I was reading too slowly. About to start the formation lap here though. The Hungaroring. Turn 1 should be interesting. It's quite wide, there's a lot of space to go around the outside or up the inside, so, and hopefully it doesn't end anyone's race either, because that is also just as likely to happen as it is not to. If everyone could load in, then we might get to watch a race here today. How many viewers have we got? Let me have a look. 12 viewers. Hello all. Welcome along here for round 12 in sunny Hungary for the first race in SLR of 2019. Dusty leads the way for the formation lap, followed by Elmo, Berra, Mocken, Skinno, Nuffle, Muggern in the Red Bull, Alfie Jensen, who will be quite disappointed with his qualifying position, being he's, like I say, he's gotten a few pole positions in these first 11 rounds of SLR, but he's fourth last, fourth in the back. Behind him is Akil, Mystic Man, who I'm not sure what he was on about in qualifying. Barob, who will be bitterly disappointed about that disqualification in qualifying, which robbed him of probably, I'm not 100% sure about this now, but it maybe would have been his best qualifying of the season. But I imagine he will be back with a vengeance, trying to get back that spot, but we'll see if he can accomplish that. You know, it's one thing being back with a vengeance, it's another thing coming back with a vengeance. Down they go here into the final sector towards the line, trying to heat up those tyres. It's a bit early for that, lads. Renault and a Mercedes getting very, very close there. But Berra was disqualified, and so was that was the Mercedes and the Renault, so I imagine they just collided and got disqualified. They're not out of the session, for those unaware. They're there, and they've been just placed into their grid spots by the game for being bold. But yeah, they line up here on the grid. If I could get a better camera angle, that would be great, because this is terrible. No, I'm gonna have to roll with it. Yeah, well, I guess this is the camera we're getting. We go to 5 lights and are holding, and away they go. I'm gonna go on board. It's a good start for Elmo. He's right in the back of Dusty already. He's gonna go try to have a look around the outside here at turn 1. It's looking quite clean so far, no one out of the race. Let's go rocking down towards turn 1. Alfred Jensen with a great old start up to 5th mate. Muggern has lost the place to him. Elmo's right nose and tail with Dusty. It's going to be hard to ignore him in his mirrors here. Coming into turn 4. Very fast turn 4, and around they go. Side by side through there, that's a bit dangerous. Mystic Man with a good start from... He actually hasn't gained a place, excuse me. To come into the second sector, and Akil's round! Akil's been clipped from behind by somebody. It might have been Mystic Man, because he's out as well. Barob has either binned it or he's left. So it's been a bit of a nightmare evening for Barob, unfortunately. Muggern's going to have a look down into the final sector here. Elmo is still chasing the Dusty ahead of him in the Sauber. The old soft runners, as you can see, are kind of running away a little bit. Berra's already lost a second to Elmo. They're going to run away for these first lap or 2 or 3 or 4, but after that, those old softs will start to degrade quite badly, and it is when these soft runners will prevail, I believe. Might prevail. I can't be sure until I see it for myself. But until you all see it, Oh, and it's muggering up the inside of Alfie Jensen here, down to turn 2. And once again, so Elmo right on the back of Justy's, nearly hit him there into the second sector, into the chicane, and he's coming into this fast section now. I don't think he won't overtake him into here, but he might, if he stays with him through this sector, he might get a chance out onto the back straight. We'll see how that goes here. Who else is close to each other? Alfie Jensen, Knuckle Beast, and Muggern are very close to each other. Muggern goes wide. Alfie Jensen might go for a shot chance here as a result. They both touch the grass, and they both leave it. Okay, here comes Elmo and Dusty. I want to get a good exit into here, and if he does, it could mean the lead of the race. Here on lap 2 at the Hungaro ring, he's got a reasonable exit. He's in the toe. In hot lap mode, run low on ERS. He's gonna brake just at the 100 meter. Is he got the position? There's a lot of space around the outside to make a cutback, and he does. Dusty gets a good exit, but I think Elmo's got the position here. Dusty, nonetheless, will have a look into the second corner. He tries to have a look around the outside, but Elmo cuts him off and forces him to lift off. It's a very dangerous corner to have a look into, but he might do it nonetheless. So he lets off. He thinks better of it, and rightly so, because that. You really shouldn't be going too wide into that corner. As that's someone on the grass. Mockingweek's on the grass a little bit. He's holding 4th position. I think he might have lost the position to Berra. No, he didn't. He's held his position. As Alfie Jensen gets past Muggern, I've missed that, unfortunately. Sorry. And Muggern immediately has one Knuckle Beast in his exhaust. I will. And that is quite a worrying sight for Muggern, I believe. It's a bit of a tight corner to have a look into down here. Muggern goes wide again. He's struggling on those tyres, or he's not got his head in it at the moment. He runs wide again. Just Knuckle Beast, I mean, really looking to have a look in here. Muggern goes wide again. And Knuckle gets a much better exit out onto the straight. He has DRS as well, and he's in overtake mode. He's closed, and he pulls the inside. He has a nose at the inside, and Muggern runs a little bit wide again and allows him the space and compromises exit as well. So skin up. I want to be getting in this action. What happened to him at the start? I thought he qualified quite high up. Sorry if I missed that. Muggern again. He's really struggling on those tyres. There must be something wrong with. I don't know what it is. They're either overheating or he's got a bad setup or something like that. I don't know what's up with him. He's usually reasonably good in terms of pace, but he's just dropping places like they're nothing here today. And skin up, it won't have a look through here because there's just no space. Dusty wants that position back from Elmo. You might get it back out onto the straight here, as Berra on lap 4, like I expected, is starting to close the gap on the leading 2. Those tyres, these are the last, well past lap 10. The soft tyres by Ultrasofts might only just about last 5 or 6. Onto lap 5 they go, and Dusty might have a look at Elmo here into turn 1. Pulls to the outside, he brakes a little bit later, he's going to have a look here. If not, he might want the switchback. Elmo blocks him off. And Berra has got the switchback on Dusty as a result of the moves that slowed him down. He's going to have a look around the outside here. Dusty runs deep, nearly takes the nose off Berra as he returns to the track. That's a bit dangerous from Dusty, but they move on anyways. Alfie Jensen, meantime, has closed a gap on Mockingweeks. He runs wide at turn 4. These three would want to stay as close as they can to each other. If they, well, Elmo will want them to get away, but the two behind them will just need to stay as close as they can to hopefully get that slipstream out onto the straight. That could mean the difference between first, second, and third. The rest of the field has started to split up a little bit. Bar Mockingweeks, bar the top 5. On lap 5 here of this Hungarian Grand Prix, as the two ultra soft runners go into the pits and Berra inherits the lead of this race. those tires would be melting at this point, as expected. So yeah, into the pits they go. Alfie Jensen is going to have a look at Mockinglynx here into turn 1. He's not quite close enough. There's a lot of overtakes here as the steel soft runners pit. And do they jump onto mediums or softs? They are on softs. I don't know if they'll last till the end of the race. That's 29 laps on softs. Or maybe they're going for 2-stop. They would probably go for 2-stop. I'm going to get another set of softs. Alfie Jensen receives a penalty for... I imagine it was caught on the track. I don't see why else he'd get it. Mockinglynx is 2 seconds basically behind Berra, who leads this race currently, and I don't think that lead will be threatened for quite a while unless something happens, there's a mistake made. But Alfie Jensen will want to be getting by Mockinglynx quite soon because he might be holding him up a little bit, and the sight of no car in front of you will always be easier to go quicker. As Mockinglynx goes wide as I say that. So as Alfie Jensen goes a small bit wide as well, but I think gets a better exit, and as DRS and goes into overtake mode, he has plenty of juice here to get past Mockinglynx, and he blasts past him on the straight. He just had a lot more juice than Mockinglynx, I think. It was in medium ERS, and Alfie gets the DRS down towards turn 2 as well. So I'm not sure if Mockinglynx will take back that position as he locks up there into turn 2. As I say that as well, Skin Up he was back in 8th at one point. I'm not sure, a few people pitted, but as Berra gets a penalty as well. It's turn 4, probably turn 4. Skin Up is only 5/10 behind Mr. Knuckle Beast. Come into the final sector now. The Skin Up here is right up the exhaust of Knuckle Beast coming out through the final corner. You definitely want to have a look here. He gets a much better exit. Knuckle Beast is known to be an aggressive defender. Looking back at Silverstone, and he'll try to get back into the slipstream to retain the position here, but he just can't keep Skin Up back, and he gets DRS again towards turn 2. MVP Dusty on the fresh soft tires sets a fast lap of the race as he's having a bit of a battle here again with Mystic Man is having a bit of a battle with Elmo down through the first sector, and Elmo's day today. He hasn't pitted yet either. He won't be pitting for a while on the mediums. Home behind him, they'll be faced with Dusty in the next few laps as well, as Mogern gets a bit sideways out of the chicane there. Love to see that. He touches the grass as well a little bit. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. Hope someone hasn't binned it. There, Akil has binned it, unfortunately. It's a very easy corner there. If you clip the corner on the inside, this car's gone. There's no saving it. And I believe that's what he's done. He got front wing damage, and that could well be the end of his race, as he's already lost 20 seconds and he's going to have to lose another 25 to get that front wing replaced. But there's only 10 drivers, so it's always worth finishing, because you will get 1 point at least. One's better than none, as Elmo is going to have a look here on Mogern. Down towards turn 1, he's alongside with DRS. Mogern might try to switch back here if Elmo doesn't block it off. He does, he gets a better exit, but Elmo has DRS, so he mightn't quite get the run. And he is also in a lower ERS mode. I believe Mogern's going to keep that position. As Miss Dusty gets past Mystic Man as well, like I expected to happen. Mockinglynx here is closing in on Alfie Jensen, who He was second in this race. Berra seems to be just increasing his gap at the front of the pack. He was only 2 seconds ahead, I think, back on lap 5, and now he is almost 4. And this battle might help him increase that gap even more. But Muggern here is still dropping places. He runs wide again as Dusty gets by him. Down towards the third to last corner here. Yeah, and he's locked up a little bit, but Muggern, it must be the setup or something. He just seems to be struggling on those tyres quite badly, and he might even... Mystic Man is looking to have a much more stable car behind him. He could lose that position to him in the coming laps, but that's just... that might happen as Akil left. I'm not sure when that happened. Just frustrated, it seems. He would have had to spend 25 laps driving around on his own, pretty much. Which is never very nice, as Mocking makes it getting very close to Alfie Jensen coming in through the second sector now. They both lock up. Mocking just blocks up both front tyres, and Alfie Jensen opens up a little bit of a gap. 2 Mocking Weeks. If I knock Mocking Weeks well at all, he won't want to give up that position easily. Alfie Jensen locks up. They all seem to be locking up a little bit. They could do it moving the brake blades back a small bit. As Alfie Jensen runs wide and Mocking Weeks has stuck his nose up the inside, but Alfie won't want to give up that position either. He'll look to get a better exit here out onto the straight. Sticks it into overtake mode despite his quite obvious lack of ERS, but he cares nothing more. He cares about nothing more than that position. He gets up the inside, sticks his nose up the inside into turn 1. Mocking Weeks locks up and inside right a little bit. And is going to have a look here down into turn 2. And Alfie Jensen holds the position around the outside. Mocking Weeks gets up on the curb a little bit, but still less than 2/10 behind him. So we'll be wanting to have a look on Alfie Jensen on the straight on the next lap, because really there's you shouldn't really overtake much other places than turn 1 and 2. Although you can, you really, you know, it's a bit tight of a place to do that. Like I said, people do refer to this track as Monaco without the walls for a reason. Tie down force, and sections like this, the road is very narrow. The skin up here is looking to capitalise on the battling going on between Alfie Jensen and Mocking Weeks. He'll also want that position badly. They all run miss the apex a small bit, but that means they all get an equal exit out onto the straight. Skinner gets DRS, as with Mocking Weeks, so Alfie Jensen will be worse for wear down the straight. Mocking Weeks closes in. You might have a look up the inside here. Alfie Jensen runs a bit wide as Mocking Weeks locks up, compromising his move, and Skin up here might look to capitalise on these little mistakes. As down towards turn 2 they go. Alfie Jensen runs wide again, Mocking Weeks with him. Just down up to turn 4 they go. They've got to hold it together through here, and I don't think there'll be any more overtakes for the rest of the lap unless there's a mistake made. If the car stays on the racing line through this section, it's really almost impossible to overtake. But if we make a mistake and come off that line, that is when it is possible to make an overtake. Quite possible. Down through the final sector to go now. This seems to be the only real action on track, as Berra, like I said, has improved, has increased his gap yet again. From what it was just short of 4 seconds is now nearly 9 seconds. So Berra seems to be running away with this here. He seems to have nailed qualifying and nailed the strategy along with it, being the fastest of the soft runners. And then there is Dusty and Elmo, who really, they really suffered from that tyre choice in qualifying of the ultra softs. These fellas qualified 1st and 2nd, and now they're down in 6th and 7th. and there's not a whole lot they could have done about it after setting those quali laps on those tyres. As Alfie Jensen's starting to pull away a small bit from Skin Up, and Mockenweeks has lost the position actually. I'm sorry I missed that. To Skin Up. And while that was happening, Alfie Jensen has decided goodbye is kind of what was going through his head when he saw those two battling behind him, as Dusty gets a penalty through turn 4, I imagine, because it's just very hard. It's very easy, excuse me, to get a penalty through that corner. Mockenweeks has fallen outside of a second out DRS range of Skin Up here, so this battle might be starting to fizzle out here, which would be a shame because it is the only action out on the track right now, and I'm running out of things to talk about. But yeah, let's have another look at the championship table. As Dusty pits again. Oh no, he doesn't. What happened there? I've missed something here. Something's... Nufflebeast is pitted. That's what happened. Nufflebeast pitted, and then not. From these fellas overtook him in the pits. Over in here, the soft runners, the fellas who qualified on the soft tyres, will be pitting likely in the next 2 or 3 laps. That's the one-stop strategy. Usually, can really be anything between at the end of this lap. We'll keep an eye on Barrett, see if he comes in. Can be anything between the end of this lap to the end of lap 15, 16, 17. Really, Barrett stays out on this lap. And he's pulled a gap out of 10.4 seconds to second place. Barrett seems to have this win in the bag. He just needs to really keep it together. As Alfie Jensen pits, as I expected, Nufflebeast gets a 3-second penalty for track extending. Alfie Jensen into the pits. Skin Up follows him. Mockenweeks follows him. Dusty and Elmo stay out as they're only on new tyres. So keep in mind, the fellas who are going on to the mediums now don't need to stop again. Muggerin here, for example, don't need to stop again. But Dusty and Elmo, although they have inherited second and third, they are far behind the leader, Bera, and they need to stop again. And they are only 8 seconds ahead of these fellas who have now gone on to mediums. So it's Alfie Jensen, Skin Up, Nufflebeast, Mockenweeks, and Muggerin, who's kind of a bit further back, but the same story. It lasts at the moment, like, you know. Dusty here is quite close to the back of Elmo. Now we're going into turn 2. He's going to have a look around the outside here. He runs a little bit too wide for comfort, and Elmo holds the position, and if he makes no mistakes this lap, will likely be able to hold that position for the rest of the lap until the same thing as next lap, because this second and third sector are just too tight to make an overtake. They're just too tight, unfortunately. So, Dusty is within the DRS range of Elmo here, down towards turn 1 in overtaking mode. He drops down to mode 1, coming down towards turn 2 now. It's looking like he's just a bit too far back. Elmo's getting good exits. It's looking like he's just a bit too far back to make a move. So this race really has simmered down a small bit. As I say, Elmo and Dusty will likely have to stop again, and if they don't, them tyres really will suffer in the last 10 laps or so. Berra is sort of your net leader right now. Mystic Man hasn't pitted yet, so he'll need to stop again, which will drop him down maybe closer to the bottom of the grid. So you got sort of Alfred Jensen, Skin Up, Knuckle Beast and Mocking Weeks for the rest of the places. And all of them are quite far apart, so I can't see that changing without a few mistakes either. And Dusty is also losing time to Elmo. He's gaining a bit of time. He's going back and forth as Mugrin is off. It's sector 2 at that dreaded corner. Well, it's not a dreaded corner. It's quite easy. You just stay off the curb on the inside is the only thing. 'Cause that thing will end your race. It ended Akil's, and it looks to have basically ended Mugrin's really here. He'll get 2 points for 9th. All he has to do is finish, but I can't see him catching anyone. Dusty here is still close behind Elmo. Coming through the 2nd and 3rd sectors. The no overtaking sectors around this track in reality. Berra is on much fresher medium tyres. Elmo and as well as Dusty are on the newer, the old soft tyres. And as a result, Berra is closing in quite quickly on this pair. And I imagine these two will have pitted before he catches them. But if he doesn't, we might get a bit more action in this race, because I'm not sure of the weather. I haven't received any weather reports. I haven't seen any weather reports for this race. It's getting quite close to the end, so and the skies look quite blue to me, so I don't see there being any changes in the weather. But Berra really does inherit the lead of this race. As soon as Mystic Man is pit, Mystic Man into pits, he's going on to the soft tyres now until the end of the race. He'll go 16 laps on those softs, or 15, 16, 15 or 16, not 100% sure whether he's on lap 19 or 20. He's on lap 19, so 16 laps. He'll go on that, which will secure, I don't know where he'll end up in the end. We don't know. But Dusty is staying right behind Elmo. He's just not making any moves. It's a bit annoying for me because I just have to sit here and watch them following each other. I'd rather watch them try and overtake each other. And possibly a bit of crashing. But you know, I get nothing personal, it's just purely entertainment that I want. As much as all of you want that as well, I'm sure. As much commentating as I'm doing, I'm technically still a spectator and I want to be entertained. But yeah, following close behind, Alfred Jensen sets the fastest lap of the race on these 5 lap hold mediums. I have a 1:19.9 in his Toro Rosso Honda. And yeah, the gaps really have opened up a bit here. The only gap that is quite small, there's nothing really coming of it. Dusty just seems a small bit slower through sector 3, and as a result he's not close at 5 seconds stop and go for Mocking Weeks. I'm not sure why he's coming into the pits at all. He's only on 5-lap old mediums. Jumping onto softs now, repairing the front wing, so I imagine he's just binned it somewhere. It's a shame for Mocking Weeks because it was looking like a reasonable result for him. Once the front two pitted. They will be pitting in the next lap or two, I imagine. Well, that front two of Dusty, maybe next lap or the one after that. In the next 2 or 3 laps they would likely be pitting. Berra has closed the gap. He's nearly within DRS range as Berra of these two, but they will most likely have pitted before he gets the chance to make a move. He will be hoping so because that'll lose him less time. Getting caught is not really a worry for Berra right now as he leads the man behind him, Alfie Jensen, by 12.4 seconds. Alfie is also behind him, 1 point behind him in the championship. That'll extend to maybe, I think, about 8 points after this race, providing everyone holds their track position until that checkered flag. Praying Dusty has a good final sector here so we can have a bit of action down to turn 1. And he pits, so Elmo will have to go like the feckin'. He'll have to put in a very quick lap right now if he wants to get the overcut on Dusty, and likewise Dusty will want to get a good lap in when he leaves the pits to try and get the undercut on Elmo when he pits either next lap or the one after that. Likely be next lap because then them softs will really be hurting right now. Berra gets promoted up to 2nd, Alfie Jensen up to 3rd, Skin up to 4th. As Dusty comes out of the pits just ahead of Knucklebeast, you can see him there, a little speck in the distance going into turn 1. As Elmo gets a 3-second time penalty. Penalties might make a difference here as well. There hasn't been an incredible amount of them, like there usually is at certain tracks. But speaking of penalties, there goes Mocking Weeks getting one. So Elmo will most likely pit this lap. Mocking Weeks is the fastest lap of the race. That's a shame because that shows Mocking Weeks' pace. Just that small mistake dropping down to the bottom, and small mistakes really are all it takes to ruin a race at times. As Elmo pits, so we'll go on board with Dusty now, who's right in the back, Skin up. Dusty will be quite happy with 3rd after being not on the favourable strategy, 3rd or 4th, but we'll stay on board with him and see if Elmo gets out ahead of them. And he's going to make a move on Skin up here into turn 1 as Elmo leaves the pits. He's up the inside of the Skin up. So he's made up 2 positions there as Dusty on Elmo and on Skin up in the one corner. Although Elmo was leaving the pits, he was kind of a bit of a deer in the headlights to that. But Dusty jumps up to 3rd place, Skin up right behind him, and Elmo on fresh tyres chasing after Skin up here on 8-lap old mediums. A battle which will favour Elmo, as, like I said, he is on much softer, fresher tyres. Meanwhile, Dusty, who will be faster now than Alfie Jensen ahead of him, will try to close that gap and get onto that 2nd step of the podium to Berra's right, which Berra seems to be running away with this one again. But we'll have a bit of a battle here on the final laps for the podium, for the final 2 podium positions. It's going to get exciting. Elmo here has closed within 4/10 of Skin up, coming down onto the back straight here. He has DRS and up into overtake mode he goes. Closing. To the inside goes Elmo, blasts past Skin up with that in overtake mode and DRS.
and Elmo gets a better exit and secures the position and gets DRS to further extend that gap down the straight, small straight, down towards turn 2. Elmo looking to get on the back. His tyres are a lap pressure, which might be just the advantage he needs to try and catch Dusty, and maybe possibly stop him from catching Alfie Jensen. It could go anywhere. This second, third, and fourth here. It's battle from second for these three for the final two positions in the podium, and I couldn't tell you who's going to come out worst. You'll have to stick around to find out. So yeah. So Dusty here coming out into the back straight. Alfie pulls to the inside, try and break the toe, break the slipstream for Dusty, but Dusty closes in nonetheless. They're within 5 tenths to within 4 tenths now. Elmo will be rubbing his hands together watching this. It's his time to close in and get one or maybe even two of them. But Dusty here closing right in here. Alfie puts a tyre on the grass. That might give Dusty the edge he needs here into turn 4 and through the long right hander at turn 5. He closes in a little bit, but this is not the place to have a move. Have a look up the inside of the outside. Alfie Jensen just needs to stay on the racing line here, and if he does, he can hold the position for another lap. But as for the laps after that, it's not looking great for Alfie, with these two cars that are much quicker than him at this current moment in time, right behind him. Dusty here pulls the outside for the penultimate corner. It's not really safe to have a look around there. And he gets a switch back on Alfie, who goes deep in the penultimate corner. Around the final corner they go. Alfie runs wide again, and Elmo picks up the pieces and goes up the inside out onto the back straight. Alfie's pushed wide but gets DRS. He might try to have a look here down into turn 1 again. Elmo pulls to the inside. Alfie gets a toe off Dusty down towards turn 1. Dusty will hold the lead from these three. Elmo holds his position up the inside and he takes off right away to get to work on Dusty, trying to get that final spot, the second spot on the podium. Alfie Jensen here is really struggling on these tyres. I can't see him fighting this battle for much longer, but as for Dusty and Elmo, they've been fighting all race and they're going to fight right to lap 35 here. So Elmo here around the final corner, right on the exhaust of Dusty, runs a small bit wide, up into overtake mode, very little ERS, but he's got to spend it now. DRS, Dusty holds the inside of the track, Elmo goes to the inside, braking into turn 1. Dusty will have the switch back as Elmo's gone deep. He's off the track on the outside, and Dusty holds the position. He'll have to just stay on the racing line here now, will Dusty, and he'll hold the position for one more lap. He needs. It's gonna be a good battle here between these two. Alfie Jensen is not giving up though, although he is on much worse tyres. He is not giving up. He wants that podium place. As these three here for the final two steps on the podium, and not one of them will be satisfied with 4th or 3rd for that matter. Alfie Jensen runs a small bit wide here, loses a bit of time, but he'll still stay within DRS range of Elmo and Dusty. Coming on to lap 28 now, Bear leads the race by quite a considerable margin, nearly 14.5 seconds. from Dusty, Elmo, Alfie Jensen, Skin Up, Knufflebeast, Mystic Man, Muggern, and Mocking Weeks, who will be disappointed with where he likely will finish this race, but these things happen. As Elmo is closing in down towards turn 1, he has a look up the inside. Dusty goes wide a small bit. No, not really actually. He manages to pull it back from the outside. Alfie Jensen will be hoping these two have a bit of a battle and slow each other down. It'll give him a chance on worse tyres to maybe have a look and maybe sneak the position off Elmo, or maybe even Dusty as well. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen, really, around here. Elmo runs a small bit wide. Dusty pulls away a small bit. These two really are staying clumped up together, which is good for the racing. But it is not good, really. Yeah, it is pretty. Because Bear has the win wrapped up. Anyways, it seems. He's losing a small bit of time to the fellas behind him because he's on older, harder tyres. But as Alfie comes a bit close to the diffuser of Elmo going into turn 1. It doesn't look like these three are going to make any moves. They're quite evenly matched, these three. And it's looking like one's going to have to make a mistake if they're going to overtake each other, which is quite possible on old tyres on a very technical track that is the Hungaroring. Here in, guess where, Hungary. Oh, is Alfie Jensen going to have a look? No, he's not. He's going to get very close, but he's not going to have a look. He's going to think better of it, which is a reasonable instinct. Dusty is pulled out of DRS range of Elmo, which is a bit odd because Elmo's on 1 lap pressure tyres. But that might influence Dusty's pace and Elmo's pace towards the end of the race. And we might have a bit of a final lap battle here as Alfie Jensen runs a little bit wide and picks up a 3-second penalty. I might have a look at the penalties here. No, I won't. They're coming out onto the back straight, so I'll watch their race and then we'll check the penalties when they're in the no overtaking sector, which is sector 3 around here. And sector 2. Sector 3 more, so. But Elmo's not going to be able to have a look at Dusty here, and Alfie is a bit too far back maybe to have a look at Elmo into turn 1, but if Elmo doesn't get a great exit here, Alfie might have a look into turn 2. I think he's a bit too far back either way. Okay, we'll have a quick look here at the race director. So, Dusty has 1 penalty. Elmo has 1 penalty, and Alfie has 2 penalties. So, Alfie, I believe that's 6 seconds of penalties for Alfie, so he'll have to finish. It's not looking like he's going to be in a great spot here. He might even lose the place to Skin Up behind him if that gap holds. He does have 6 seconds of penalties, whereas these 3 ahead only have 3 each. So that might be what happens, which would be a shame for Alfie because he's done well here to keep with these 2 fellas ahead of him. I'm surprised that Dusty and Elmo have managed to get this high up the grid after a questionable tyre choice in qualifying. They did the business. They got the best out of the tyres, and they're gonna battle here on the final laps of the race here at Hungaroring for that final spot on the podium. Elmo has a look up, goes up the inside of him and gets the position. Dusty will not be happy about that after holding that 2nd place for so long. Elmo runs a small bit wide from the apex, but Dusty won't be able to get up the inside of him at this point. It's looking like Alfie's pulled back a bit, but if these two start battling, he'll be able to reel them right in again, as both of them run wide into turn 4 and are very close to each other here, coming into the 2nd sector. And this, the no overtaking sector, so yeah, just give it a minute. He's less than 2/10 behind him though. He's right on him. He's really got to hold his nerve here and just not make any mistakes and stay within this range until that back straight, where he'll have a chance down to turn one to make a move for the second step of the podium, which he will most definitely want, and want a lot. Less than 4/10 behind now, and as a result of this little small battle between Elmo and Dusty, Alfie has reeled in 5/10 on them again after losing a bit of time due to his old tyres. Out onto the back straight they go. Elmo gets a bit ahead. He gets a better exit out of the final corner, but is losing time to Dusty nonetheless in the slipstream with DRS. Dusty will want a good exit out here towards turn 3, but he won't get a good exit as Elmo. Elmo has been a great drive out of that corner all day. And Dusty is just too far back. But Dusty here is closing in a small bit. He's less than 2/10 behind coming into turn 4 and 5. But it's just not going to happen this lap, it seems. Skin Up is closed in on Alfie. His tyres are just as fresh and just as hard, but he seems to have closed in about 5/10 since I last checked on him. Does he have any penalties? Skin Up has 2 penalties as well, so he won't lose the position to Skin Up because he has penalties also. These two have been within 2 or 3 seconds of each other for as many laps now. I can't even remember how many. And it might they're in their order now, but there might even be in a few different ones in these next 3 laps before the end of the race. On to lap 33 now of 35 here at the Hungaroring. And they are holding their positions for this moment. It's yellow flag in sector 2. That's not Berra, is it? It's not Berra. Who is it? It's Mocking Weeks off again, and he's retired. Oh, just finished the race and get some points, mate. Alfie gets another penalty, so that could lose him the position. Dusty and Elmo are having a bit of a scrappy race. Very, very close to him there. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. I'll have a look at what happened after this. There might be a bit. I'm not sure if Mockroom's car is still sat up here on the track. It's not, gladly, because that would have been carnage if it was. They're sitting so close to each other. I don't want to take my eyes off it because they could make contact. There could be an overtake at any moment. They're that close. At the same time, I do, because it's more than a 3-car race. Nufflebeast here gets past Mystic Man. Nufflebeast on much older tyres. Oh, Mystic Man gets the switchback around that very fast corner. Right-hander. Mystic Man and Nufflebeast here having a battle. That's great. I've got 2 battles to watch at the same time. This is great. So Nufflebeast here looking to have a move. He sticks the nose up the inside into the final corner, and he gets a good run here as Mystic Man runs a small bit wider than him through that final corner. He gets the overtake. He gets the overtake down the inside. You'll have a look. He has DRS. Mystic Man will go for the switch back on the softer tyres. He'll get the run down towards turn 2. He'll try to have a look around the outside here, or maybe even switch back to the inside. Nufflebeast runs a small bit wide, as does Mystic Man. But Mystic Man will have the run here, but this is not the corner you want to be overtaken into down here at turn 4. And turn 5 neither, but they're gonna go. They came very close there to making contact. But we'll see here. These 2nd, 3rd and 4th still hold their positions as Skin Up watches from afar. 2.5 seconds behind this little group. It's down the back straight they come now. I think they're just a bit too far back to make any moves on each other right now. The yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, that's Nufflebeast with a really heavy crash there. I'm not sure if there was contact. There was contact. I think there's Mystic Man has lost
a few of his few bits off his front wing, and Knucklebeast does not have one, but he's going to try and go to the end of the race either way. On the final lap here, these three are still nose and tail. It's like a snake going through this final sector. It's going to go right to the line here, it seems. These fellas' heart rates will be going through the roof right now. This is a battle for the podium, and none of them want to lose it. But it's looking like Alfie is going to be the worst off here, unless there is a big accident here down into the final sectors. But it's not looking like it's going to happen. As around the final corners they go, Berra crosses the line and wins by quite a large margin. Elmo leads from Dusty, and Alfie Jensen in that little battle I had in the final laps of the race, which was a great little battle to watch. Skin up in 5th. It's a good race from him. Alfie Jensen drops to 5th with penalties. He's only by 2/10 that he's lost it in the end, which is unfortunate for Alfie. But these fellas give us a bit of entertainment in the final laps, which is always lovely. Mystic Man here, after a poor qualifying, 6th is a reasonable result for him. He won't complain, I don't think. Coming around the final corner now, Knucklebeast without a front wing. Jeez, who knows, he might be caught by Muggern here at the end. Mystic Man finishes in 6th. He's going very slowly there. I don't think Muggern's going to catch him. But yeah, without a front wing, albeit, Knucklebeast comes around the final corner here to finish in 7th place. And Muggern follows him as he bins it in the wall across the line. Muggern takes 7th, it looks like. Knucklebeast probably had a few penalties. But that's the race then, as Berra takes the top step of the podium with Mr. MVP Dusty to his right and Hello Animal to his left. Quite a good start to 2019, I think, here in SLR. So, to confirm then, our final race classification, if it would load up, there we go. Berra wins the race, followed by Dusty in 2nd, Elmo in 3rd, Skin Up, Alfie Jensen, Mystic Man, Muggern, Knucklebeast, Mocking Weeks, who had a very disappointing evening, unfortunately. Akil, who binned it at some point, and Borob, who did the same. But yeah, be sure to tune in. That was only the T2 race, so be sure to tune in about half an hour's time at 8:15 for the T1 race, in which I will be racing. Wish me luck and all that jazz. But yeah, that has been SLR T2, and I'll see you again next time.